Boom, boom, boom. Stay locked, because we're the bomb.
Transmission. You see that thing a lot as a little boy, and I'm like, why are they apologizing or telling us all of these things? But now I know better. We're so sorry. But thanks for being there. It's still the Boom Bar on your Boom Radio NG. We are taking a look at the off-cycle elections that took place in Nigeria at the weekend, amongst other things. There'll be other things that we want to talk about. And we've already established and analyzed the Imo state and the things that actually went down there, more or less. Of course, Governor Uzodinma, regardless of how he had been dragged, we use the word dragged now, he sure came out tops. That's the bottom line, So here we are, still talking politics right here on your Boom Radio NG, and we're also looking at the other states that.
Yeah, the next one, Kogi State, and I think that's where we stopped. And the interesting part for me with Kogi State was that of all the three candidates, the PDP candidate who seemed to be, not who seemed really, is
the most vocal.
Is the most vocal. Probably you would think would be the most popular. Keep in mind, and it's not just about being vocal. This person has been a House of Representatives member before, has been, I think, a 2-time senator.
I don't know about 2 times, but at least he was a senator.
Yeah, I think he was a senator.
I don't know
twice.
about 2 times, but I know he was a senator. It was from House of Rep to Senate.
Yeah, so out of every other person there, he was the one that seemed
counts.
to. Yeah, experience does count.
Or should count.
And then you would not expect that he would come embarrassingly third. Because, see, let's call a spade a spade. It's one thing to be, when there's 100, 95, 91. The person that was third, was not bad. You just had people that were better than you. You cannot have 400 and something thousand, 200 and something thousand, and then you have 49,000. No.
That's like the person's tithes now.
That's the person's tithes.
If the number of votes that he had was the
Mr. Dino
was
Melaye,
the money that he made
you
over a period of 1 month,
have a lot of
that would have been his tithes.
You seem to have a lot of things to say about other people, from the president to everybody else.
But
and
here
you are.
Are you saying you don't agree with Dino's call for the cancellation of the entire elections?
Remember, he said he was not even going to vote because he. No, I do not agree with his own. Why? Because, see, if the SDP person is talking, before the elections, even the PDP in Kogi State had an issue with him.
Mm-hmm.
It was all mouth and no bite, all bark and no bite. It was just, I think it was just old glory. But keep in mind also, this is someone that contested a few months ago for the Senate seat, and he didn't win.
He lost.
A Senate seat is 1/3 of your state, yeah?
He lost, yeah.
If you cannot win 1/3, how do you plan to win a whole state?
Yeah, it's politics now. Maybe he just had a formula that would see him win the other senatorial districts. There's a unique thing about the elections in Kogi State. Remember that I had said earlier, if you had watched the other part before we got cut off or we took a break, that we vote a lot along sentimental lines. Mm-hmm. Our sentiments could be tribal, religious, or otherwise. It could be anything. Now, in the case of Kogi, this is what I noticed, the voting pattern. The SDP candidate got the bulk of the votes from where he came from in Kogi State.
Okay.
The APC candidate got the bulk of the votes from where he came from. The PDP candidate,
He could not even win one. See,
he got a lot of his votes from where he came from. A lot, not enough though.
I would shout out to most of the candidates in. We know that the APC candidate won his local government, as usual. You would expect it. The SDP candidate also won his local government. Even the ADC candidate won his local government.
Yeah.
The PDP candidates, Mr. Dino Melaye, a former House of Rep member, a former two-time senator, yes, I have confirmed, he's a two-time senator, could not win his local government. Are you kidding? So what are you doing? Were you just not wasting people's time and energy? So what was all the noise about?
Yeah, but at times,
It's obvious that, you overbloated your own importance and your own popularity. You are not as popular as you seem. I'm just saying.
Wait, is it that you had this axe to grind with?
I do not. It's just that with all the noise, and then you come out in the afternoon that day and say you are not voting because, uncle, you're not going to win the election.
Okay, so what is your take on some of the angles to this election? For instance, when it appeared that Dino Melaye was going to get the nod ahead of the other candidates in the state that had signified their intention to run for governor on the platform of the PDP, a group of PDP members actually, organized a media briefing. And at that place, they complained about what they perceived to be a biased national body that was already leaning towards Dino to the detriment of the other candidates.
Keep in mind that also, adding to what you said, that they now FCT minister, former River State governor, had come out publicly. Mr. Nyesom Wike does not know how to hide his feelings. That I think it was more of, if PDP wanted to win an election, of all people to pick as their candidate, it had to be Dino Melaye.
Yeah, you will know that in Wike's own case, he seems to have some kind of history with Dino, not personally, but knowing that Wike went head-to-head with Dino's new principal. I put the word new there. Abubakar Atiku, His Excellency. It was Dino's new principal. And why, if I say new, you would get it if you allow me to explain. Dino used to be Bukola Saraki's person. Saraki also contested, right? Against Atiku. But of course, we didn't see Dino support Saraki. We saw him campaign boldly and even became one of the top members of Atiku's campaign committee, And of course, Wike not working for them would definitely have something to say. So, but again, it looks like whatever he said, whatever axe he had to grind there, has come full circle now, and it's looking like, yes, was Wike being, clairvoyant, looking into the future to say, if you allow a Dino Melaye contest an election, how are you sure that you want to win if you are really serious about it? I think one of the biggest things that Dino has done for himself as a disservice is the clowning that he did, especially during the electioneering campaign.
Yeah, presidential.
Now, he's vocal. He's vocal. Now, the videos of when he more or less mocked the current speaker of the current Senate president, Akpabio. There was a video of him mocking him that, Akpabio didn't make it back to the house.
Yeah, and here you are.
And all of that. And Akpabio is now the Senate president. Of course, there have been several videos of him mocking Bola Tinubu. There was a time when he had the altercation with Tinubu's wife.
Well, if he said it was going to beat her up.
He said a whole lot of things. Even flew from Abuja to Lagos, stood by a signpost on Bodilon in Ikoyi and said he's here in Lagos and they can't touch him and all of that. At times, I think it goes too far, It works for him to a large extent, but how much would it work for him, with the larger populace? Did the entire Kogi state really see Dino as a serious candidate? Remember that I mentioned here, and I'm serious about it. Natasha Akpoti cuts the image of a more serious PDP gubernatorial candidate in.
But would she have
Kogi.
really won?
well, winning is another thing. What if, the fact that she could win an entire senatorial district?
Okay, what you're saying is
propel
that
her.
in my winning or not, she was a
better candidate.
She was a more appealing candidate
Yes.
to the people. Okay.
Yes, and that could have actually worked for her. Look, the day the court, confirmed that she was a senator, that she had won that election, I saw the turnout of crowd, the turnout of the crowd. I saw the way the people received her. For days, she went, from media house to media house. She was, the talk of town. She even came to endorse Dino a few days to the election. You understand? But I'm saying that she probably would have been a better candidate, in my opinion, than Dino Melaye, because Dino has already, boxed himself into a corner with all his theatrics.
Yeah, it was a lot of theatrics, really. It really, and honestly, was a lot of theatrics. But anyway, we want to see what Mr. Dino Melaye is going to say. He has been calling for the cancellation of the elections. I do not think that anybody's going to cancel it except courts.
Well,
I don't know who's going to go to court. If he would go to the court,
the
SDP person has already said he was.
It's a tall ask for him, seeing that there's an SDP in the mix.
Yeah,
that's one. But two, what can work for Dino is if he actually has documented proof. You see, we're going with too much sentiments, and it's funny. That's what happened when Atiku and Obi went to court. I didn't see them go to court to prove that they actually were robbed, during the elections. What they went to do was to say this person didn't qualify. They should have won 25% in Abuja. They didn't get this on. Do you understand? But in brass tacks, the only way you can upturn an election of this magnitude is to come out to prove that your 40-something thousand votes could have been 400,000 if INEC had not done such and such, or if the APC or the SDP had not done such and such. But now, it's difficult. The APC already have the number of votes that they have. The party that came second are saying that they're not going to court. What is your leg are you standing on? Which leg is Dino going to stand on to say he won an election? Except he has proof.
To me,
And
right
he
now,
actually
at
needs
the
a lot of proof.
moment, the only thing that can happen is maybe the cancellation of the election, not declaring him as the winner. But like you had said anyway, that there's already an SDP in the middle of that matter. But the SDP man has already said he wasn't. But you never know. He can wake up tomorrow morning and say that
He will still go. It's not
still within
bad.
his rights.
It's not statutes
Exactly.
bad
It's
now.
still within his rights. So quickly, let's move on from that and let's go to Bayelsa State, where I think it is now obvious that the governor has won a second term for himself. That is so. The APC won 2 states out of 3 states.
2 local governments.
No, 2 states out of 3 states.
Okay, we're talking Bayelsa, so when you now say state, I'm like, okay.
And in Bayelsa, the PDP has won. They've retained the state as, like you had said, the APC won 2 local governments, and the governor had won 6 local governments.
That's
It
the
was
PDP
it really,
governor.
really, honestly, was a tight race compared to every other election. This Bayelsa election was a tight race. There was a lot of drama, a lot of people beating themselves up.
Yeah, this election could have gone a different way if, for instance, maybe Timi Persiva had time to campaign. At some point,
he had lots of woes.
His name was not even on the list of contestants for the governorship seat in Bayelsa. It was taken to court a couple of times by even, I think, the PDP, Labour. It was just all, obstacles in his way. So, of course, that prevented him from campaigning. I think he had only 3 days to campaign. You get? So, believe it or not, that would have some kind of effect on anybody's, election or electoral bid or process, because, you don't have time to touch all bases, talk to all the people. Because your job is really to convince the neutrals and some of the not so, dyed-in-wood supporters of your opponents. If you can flip them, then you can win an election, because the core of your supporters will vote for you. You get. Your job is to see if you can get more people, to and apparently it didn't work for him. Now, you had referenced the power of incumbency, and of course, contradictory to what you said, Diri is not an APC member, and it didn't stop him from winning a re-election.
Yeah, that's a power of incumbency as a governor of the state already.
It counts 10 years. There's a point where you now talked about the federal and
yes,
all of that.
That's why I said that some of those things actually help. Not all the time.
I don't think it does, because I'm wondering, okay, except you're going to say, oh yeah, there's actually institutionalized rigging, because there's nothing the federal is going to do. What exactly are they going to do? Going to pick a commissioner that is more amenable to you, ask the police to look the other way. I don't get what the federal influence will be if it's a free and fair election. So for me, it's more about the power of incumbency, being a governor on ground. He had time to campaign. In fact, I saw one of the campaigns that he had where the Governor Diri acted like a preacher on the podium, and he had someone reading the Bible verse about how silver is not as good as gold, or something.
See,
from the Bible.
Let's talk to ourselves. The truth is that I think that elections or election campaigning were at a point where we should not, how do I say it now? We should stop all this nonsense that we do. It should be more about issue-based. I think that when 2023, we should move past some things. We really, really should move past some things. It's unnecessary. I just think it's completely unnecessary. That's my opinion, Sha. I'm just saying.
There might have to be, at some point in time, some kind of school of politics that anybody that wants to go into politics should at least go and get a diploma from, or something. A school that, like a finishing school of sorts, that would walk you through, the basics, and especially understanding the Constitution, and, also help you channel, your thoughts more positively. Because I really don't get it how, for instance, one of the candidates was talking about building hotels on water and all of that. Yeah, I get the business aspect of trying to boost your IGR.
That's not a campaign
from tourism, but honestly, to the person that's trying to pay school fees,
what's our business with all that?
So yeah, you want to boost IGR, we get that through tourism, but there should be more germane issues that people, would relate to if you bring it to the fore, and you hardly see Nigerian politicians really go into details, or they go in depth about that. There's always some throwing shades at people. And
that's what elections are
each
about.
Other out and all of that. At the end of the day, you come, you're entertained like it's a concert. Then you go back home, and you start to wonder again, who am I going to vote for?
What exactly? Yeah, do you understand? Does it make sense? Anyway, let's quickly run through a lot of other elections. So now, at the moment, we seem to have the off-cycle elections are over. It's safe to say that their own court cases, if there will be any, would begin in earnest.
They can start from tomorrow.
Anybody,
We're still in lawyer season, so ye lawyers, you have moved on to bigger things.
To greater things. Anyway, sadly, news came today where in Lagos State, a driver that was running away from LASTMA officials killed 2 road sweepers.
Now, LASTMA officials, or those who are non-Lagosians and non-Nigerians, are traffic management officers. It's an arm of the state government, and if you are in contravention of a traffic law, they're definitely going to come for you, and at times they overdo. You get it. But no matter what it is, nothing justifies taking innocent lives. Every time I see those, especially women, the bulk of the people who are road sweepers in Lagos, there are more women than men.
Mm-hmm.
And most times when I see them, there's a certain feeling that I have. A couple of years ago, so many years ago, about 15 years or so, I had, there was traffic, so I parked my car and gotten on a bike, on a commercial bike, and it was just dropping me at the foot of the bridge at Ojuelegba in Surulere. And just as soon as I got down from that bike, something instinctively just said, move to the other side of the bike to pay the bike man. And as I was moving, there was a vehicle that came and brushed me slightly, but cleared about two of these women sweeping. One fell to the other side of the bridge, but thank God that it was at the lower part, so it wasn't so high. The woman got up, dusted her body, and acted like she was all good, And I felt a certain kind of way. I'm like, man, this is what this people. I saw that this happened because I was kind of involved, and this got me thinking, shouldn't there be some kind of metal structure or barrier that, if you get too close, it could take out your tires or one funny thing. There was a time they used to have some barriers too that they would use and all of that. But to be honest, for a madman like the guy that drove this morning, it will not stop him. It will not stop him. Are we going to leave the streets dirty?
Yes.
Or should we also start looking at automation?
It's
where we get vehicles
these
that
people
can
are,
sweep
because the truth is
and
that
look for
people
other
are
jobs
in
for
danger.
them.
Yeah,
because this is a
are,
form of employment.
These people are definitely endangered, especially with the mad people on the road. I think at this point, a lot of people are to blame. Number one, we see a lot of the nonsense that LASTMA does. You cannot, for the life of me, every vehicle has a number. If you don't catch this person right now, this person can be caught at a later date. We've seen how people are being chased, and because they're being chased, they get into accidents and all that. These things need to stop. I'm sorry, I'm not going to hold brief for LASTMA. I was not there. I don't know what happened, but it's not a new thing. That's number one for me. Number two, it is also the angle of the person driving. Okay, LASTMA has already nabbed you. Forget it. They've nabbed you. What's the worst that could happen?
You get fined.
Could it be worse than killing two people?
Two innocent people.
Could it be worse than that? Like, let's not. It's not just making any sense. Also, like you had said, these road sweepers, if it is to get shift to road sweeping to maybe something that is done at night,
or take them off the major roads,
take them off the
and use those sweeping vehicles, those big ones.
We can't continue like this, because when you see these people on the road, they're actually like really in danger.
Yeah,
they are in danger. There's no how you want to actually talk about it and you will notice that these people are in danger. So it's very sad. I according to the last I heard, this person had run away. I'm not sure that you can easily run away so fast.
You can run, but you can't hide.
You can't hide. I hope that he's caught. I hope that the people involved, the LASTMA people involved, are also, because the truth is that a lot of them are not very professional with their work.
Again, this is the beauty of having CCTV cameras.
Yeah. Let's see
in
what really
strategic
happened.
places. So I wish that area is also covered to a large extent, and they might be able to at least fish this person out, or maybe get a description of who he is. But with the access to the platform that keeps data about driver's licenses and
you should be able to find out who's driving the car.
At least the owner of the car.
Yes, the owner of the car. The owner of the car will fish out who was driving the car if he's not the owner.
Heaven help you if you sold your car and you didn't remove your plate number.
Game over. Any which way, please quickly before we go, let's do a little bit of sports. As U.S. football star Megan Rapinoe got injured minutes into the final game of her career.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the clips of it. It was very sad because I'm a fan of Megan, and I was actually looking forward to hearing some exploit that she went out with a bang. She did go out with a bang, but not the kind of bang that she wanted.
You would expect. Also, Cesc Fabregas has now been appointed as the interim manager of Serie B side.
Well, Fab as a player, came to Arsenal as a very young, smart guy.
Played Arsenal, played Barcelona,
from Barcelona actually.
Chelsea.
To Arsenal, back to Barcelona, then to Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
And all through those times, he came across as a very intelligent footballer. I hope that translates to his coaching career too.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of that, even though we all know that being a nice footballer does not mean that we've seen a few examples of it. But we wish him the best. Also, the weekend's Premier League games, very fantastically interesting. One very fantastic and interesting one was the game with Chelsea and Manchester City. I'm not sure a lot of people saw that coming.
8-goal thriller, we're talking about if you score, I score.
Yeah.
If I score, you score. Then we score. Then you score. Then
penalty,
I score.
And I have my own penalty.
And there are a couple of talking points in that game. But one of the highlights for me was Cole Palmer, a young player that spent about 15 years as a Man City boy. And, according to Pep Guardiola, he had told him he wanted to leave. And Guardiola was like, don't go. Mahrez is going to leave. It's your turn to step up. And he said, no, he wants to leave. So they couldn't keep him back. So, of course, he had already been talking to Chelsea codedly. And look at him now. He became the hero of the day. And it was a very naughty boy. There was a time when Man City were, in a huddle. The players were there. And he also went there, and Alan looked at him and dragged and pushed him away. Like, go away. You're no longer one of us, And he played the last kick, that penalty. It was subliminal. What a story that the Man City product, was the one that put them to the sword because they could have won that game.
They could have won that game, yeah.
So it was 4-4.
It was
beautiful game.
Beautiful game. And finally, before we go, MCU's The Marvel, came out like over the weekend, and the Marvels, and you would expect, but now after an opening weekend, it is said that is the second lowest grossing movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, maybe people are just tired. You don't understand. Maybe they're just tired.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't do your hype well enough. Maybe it's just a bad weekend, and this time next week,
could actually pick
we'll
up,
take a look at it and say, okay, before we start to throw rotten tomatoes at the Marvel universe, it's actually picked up.
We will see. Okay.
Fingers crossed.
All right. And on that note, that is all we're able to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do you have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead?
Peace.